Here's Daf Yerushalmi Kilayim in the article Oz V'Hod edition with Daf Samach Dal Amud Aleph, and we are at Hanevad, which is 5 lines down. Hanevad, and in the Vilna on Flama Gimel base. It's the 5th line down. Hanevad. Okay, Hanevad. So something which is Sod Evas Avodah Zorah. East Tani Ben Shalachem also. For those who say that whether it belongs to you or even belongs to somebody else, and it was it belongs to the person who was over it, or it belongs to somebody else, it's also East Tani. Those who say that no Shalo also, person you can answer your own, say animal if you worship it. Shalachem mutter of other people, it is how it belongs to somebody else. It's mutter because. Adam also davar sheina shalom. Person can answer something which doesn't belong to him. So the having mandamar ben shalom mishalchem osir. They want to say that those who say whether it's his or whether it's somebody else's, it's osir. In other words, you can answer somebody else's thing. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Huda. That's Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Huda, who said in our Mishnah that a person can answer davar sheina shalom with kilayim. As we said, that was that in the Mishnah or the Brisa? That was the Mishnah. Doesn't mention Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Huda there though. No. So the Pnei Moshe says that the Tanakam of our Mishnah is Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Huda, who say Agabi Tvosh Rabbeinu raise a kish chai b'achalusa, and those who say Mana Mashlo also B'Shlo Acher Mutar, that's Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Shimon, who are mentioned in our Mishnah, and Adam Makadosh Davar Sheina Shalom. So the Gemara says. Rabbi Shimon said, "Lo, Dibra Koli." It goes according to everybody. How so? Something which is alive, an animal, which even though if it belongs to somebody else, you can't answer it. Does become osir. Nesa legavoa. It becomes no, that's not true. Even if it belongs to you. Something which something which is alive and you worship, it's nesa legavo, but it's not nesa lehediot. Gambit is a korban, but it can be used by a regular person. So too here. Again, Kmante matama davar sheish beruchaim afal pishen nesa lehediot nesa legavo. Kavasa so too davar sheino shalchas, which is not yours. Pishen nesa lehediot nesa legavo. Even though it doesn't become usher to a regular person, does become usher. It's disgusting to bring it as a korban. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Omer can't say the Rabbi Meir v'avad uvda kavasei. So the Ridbaz says Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Omer can't say the Meir. So Dina the Garmi hu Rabbi Meir. It's Dina the Garmi, and Yerushalmi holds Dina Garmi is a form of a knas, which is one of the opinions about Garmi, whether it's a knas or a mikra din. So he says, some of Dina Garmi that I made is for the Dina Garmi. Rabbana Plira may have relates with Dina Garmi. They don't hold Dina Garmi. They will hold that. Well, actually, let's read further. And before Yerushalmi says Pesachim Perek Beis Halach v'Perek Dalet Perek Dalet Mesachos Gitin Pluktasim Shtar Sheish Bo Ribis V'Alken Kamar Shimon Lakish the Dina Garmi who Rak the Meir Levad. So the Dina Garmi only applies according to Meir. V'Avad Uvda Kavasei. And he passed in line, man, which in the Masnisin done Muchach Beferish came. from our Mishnah, it's explicit that way. The halacha kamaso. Why? Because the hamasarek gafno was somebody who puts his vines over the other guy's field. Chimasa maaseh. What did he do? El kol ikar hezek shalo hu mishum d'kshehosif lefi daito hu mosif. The whole hezek is that when the crop grows more than 1/200, it's going. He's nichole. It's his da. It's going to his das. Martzosima it's like ritzonohu the nichole. The zel kol ikar hezek. That's the whole hezek. V'lo biyadayim. It's not with hands. Lo yadayim eziko. Am lechem shum dina garmi. It's the same thing with somebody who's sorry of Shtar Chavero, which he mentioned before, Shtar Shesh Baribis. I'm not sure. I think it's also by regular star that there's you didn't directly take away the loan, but you made the loan uncollectible. So it's garmi. My testim to koshi does dina garmi lefi. It says, look at my test. Test reading and find all the sheet of garmi. The halacha dina garmi explain Koran Meir. So be that as it may. So Rabbi Shimon Lakish Amar can't say the Rabbi Meir. Our Mishnah shows that dina garmi is a knas which Rabbi Meir imposed. But say and he that Rabbi Shimon Lakish followed that did it, but was mechayiv in the case of garmi. Mina da from our Mishnah. Besides gafno gabe tfilas shchabero. It's chima so maaseh. It's on the Rabbazi do anything extra. So Yosef daito bosif. It says it adds according to his das, so therefore it's considered kachayos dina de garmi. Now, you don't have to. The Reb Chaim also learns it's because dina garmi. You don't necessarily have to learn it's because of dina garmi. You can say it's a knas, independent knas, but all the Achronim seem to say that. The Chasam Sofer also says it. So, okay. Says Gemara further. Chab Barnash, a certain person, have a Chavi Sali the Rabbi Lazar. Some of those cases in the Bavli too. A person showed a coin to Rabbi Lazar. Amarhi Amarle Tavahi. He said it's a good coin, right? And therefore he accepted this coin as payment for something, whatever the case may be, and Biapsalis. And then later on, it was actually found to be puzzle. I don't know if Biapsalis is a bit difficult, but I'm not sure anybody changes it. But I have to change it because the idea is very clear what it is. Anyway, as Uvda Kumi Rabbi Shimon Lakish, so the case came from Rabbi Shimon Lakish, and perhaps this is the case. It's probably the case which Gemara just said. Avid Uvda Shimon Lakish did a case, passing a case like Rav Meir. No, that's not true. No, it's not like Rav Meir, because it says "V'kansim min hadah." It's going to the following. Maybe it is Dina Garmi. Yeah, that's what Chaim says. This is the case of Dina Garmi, which Meir, which Shemel Lakish Paskin like Meir. So he says, "We can't say minado," and he was kindness him because he had an achrayus. Why? What's achrayus? Because it says Hamara Dina lo shulchani. If you showed a coin to a money changer, that's his profession. The name so ran becomes it turns out to be a bad coin. Chayav l'shalim. He has to pay. Neshu nosi sochar. He's like a nosi sochar, meaning that he is like a paid shomer, and therefore he has responsibility. And since he has responsibility, so therefore, if you cause a loss by saying was good where it was bad, that is dina garmi. So it says when Rabbi Lezer no say sochar. What do you mean no say sochar? Rabbi Lezer get paid for this? That you can call him no say sochar. Rabbi Yaakov Shem Rabbi said hamachzik bo no say sochar. Yeah, If you hold on to it, you're like a nosi socher. For what purpose? How you like a nosi socher? Not the Yerushalmi socher mamish. You're not. You get paid for it, but because of Dina the Garmi. In other words, Dina Garmi says because I held on to it, that I now cause the loss, and therefore directly cause the loss, right? Not just like a grandma, and therefore I have to pay for it. The uh, the um, the it's interesting svara, right? But as he says, clearly, if you could throw in something else, you could say that a shomer sacher, that he's a shomer sacher because he needs to maintain his reputation as a profession. So therefore, he's getting to show off here. I don't know. Anyway, the Gemara says it's because of a the Achronim say because it's like the Garmi, because he picked up he picked it up. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Lo Markain. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Nazi said this El Rabbi Lezer Amar can't say the Rabbanon. If you take a look in the Basis Kanzah, I'm telling you, Rabbanon Nami Dina Garmi. Im Rabbanon Ho Dina Garmi, not so Remeir. Shibloshma can't say Remeir. So it's Machlokes. So it says Rabbanon only Rabbanon Dan Dina Garmi, and Shimon Lakish says only also Rabbanon Dan Dina Garmi. Shimon Lakish says only Remeir. Kach as uvda. So when this story came about, the story which we just talked about, Ashal Rabbi Shimon Lakish Rabbi Lazar. The Shimon Lakish asked Rabbi Lazar, Hain Knasa, the Knas, the man who holds like this Knas. Armalay, so he said the Rabbanon. He said the Rabbanon. So, in other words, I guess Rabbi Lazar, he was saying maybe Rabbi Lazar doesn't pass like a mayor. So he asked Rabbi Lazar, who holds in this knas of Din the Garmi? He said Rabbanan. So that's the case you have to pay no matter what. I hold this like mayor because it's not Mishnah, right? It's not Mishnah goes like a mayor. So therefore I hold pass like a mayor, Din the Garmi. But even if you don't hold it like a mayor, since you hold it, even when pass like a mayor, since you hold Rabbanan hold that way, so you have to pay for having messed up on the coin. So Reb Chaim seems to say that the Gemara is reneging a bit. That Shimon Lakish himself would not have paskin like Reb Meir, which is Das Yochid, but and therefore it says Rabbanan, that's how he paskin away. But I don't think so. I think it's saying L'shitoscha you have to pay. But the Reb Chaim does make an interesting point. He says, so why, if a Rabbanan also done din in the Garmi, why in our mission they not make the guy who was Sachik Gafno Agabi Tvos Chaver pay? And the answer is because they hold Eno Damosh Dover Sheno Shalo. The in the Garmi is strike in many different cases, like Stor Chavero, or you open a gate in front of a cow and you put slap it on the rump. It goes in and eats from the field. But this is a case where our case, our mission over here, is a case where you have to come on to Adam Otzer Dover Sheno Shalo in order to be Chayev Alstin the Garmi, and they hold Eno Damosh Dover Sheno Shalo, so there's nothing to pay because it never became Kilayim. Okay, so now there's a header in the article. Yes, Shimon Omrim B'Chulei. So Mora says, everybody agrees that the grapes in our Mishnah become Asur. Now, why the grapes become Asur? Because they belong to him. In other words, the two of his friend doesn't become Asur, according to those who hold. But his own grapes, they become Asur. Amalei Rebbe Lezer said, I don't understand. Ha'oser, the thing which asers, meaning the grain, which asers the grapes, Eino Nasar doesn't become aser, right? Eino Oser, and the grapes which don't aser, right? They don't aser the grain, Nasar becomes aser. So the claim here says, um, this is actually. Well, we have to see a little bit further on before I talk about the claim. Mapligin. What are they talking about? What's the machlokes? Sachik is gafno gabi tvos shulchavero. The machlokes is where they but when you put your grapevine over your friend's grain, and there, Rabbi Yochanan says the grain is awesome. Rabbi Yochanan says it's not. Besides gafno shulchavero gabi tvoso. But if I take my friend's grapes and put them over my grain, so then everybody agrees that the oser, the grain, which asers would aser the grapes, does become aser. So so Chaim says, well, it's a little bit difficult. He says, meaning that his grain becomes aser by the grapes, even though the grapes themselves don't become aser. But because here's the statement that he did a maisa with his friend's geffen to put it over his grain, so it looks as if the grapes are his. So it's very difficult to say how that puts into Ois and Nesa. But that's, he says, in the name of the Rash. All this. But he says the Gra explains that by Kila Kerem, the grain is always with Asers. So it's according to the Rash, in this case over here, we're saying the grapes Aser, not the grain. But the Gra says no. Kila Kerem, the grain also Asers, because that's the mashmos of the Pasuk. Well, Tizacha Karm Mechav Kilayim. Don't plant your kerem with kilayim. Pentikta shamlea zer shatizra. Was the kerem less the plant seed which you seed, and the grapes will become aser. So it says the shazera oser saker. The seeds are aser the vineyard. Therefore, misachik gafno shechaber al tvuaso. If I take your geffen and put it over my grain, even though the grain doesn't aser the grapes, it still asers itself. As opposed to where I put my geffen on top of the other guy's grain, the grain, since the grain doesn't become aser, the grapevines also don't become aser. It's a fascinating thing, right? There's again, according to the Gra, which makes a lot of sense, it's a pasuk. The cause and effect is the grain is the cause, the effect is the kilayim, which affects both the grain and the vineyard. But it's the grain which is the cause. So therefore, in the first, when I put my gefanim over somebody else's grain, according to Rabbi Yezer, Rabbi Yezer says it becomes oser. According to Rabbi Lezer, right, the oser, the grain does not become oser, and that's the oser. So therefore, the shein oser, the grapes, which are not the oser, they're the effect, not the cause. They're the passive, not the active. So they're not going to become oser either. But in the case where I put your grapes over my grain, so then it's different. My grain is the cause of an isser. The fact that it can't aser your thing because it's over shein or shalo, that's a technicality. But since my thing is what asers, so therefore, in my grain, my produce becomes aser. Okay. The is the next case, and I think that's already on Samech Hey. Yeah. So we'll stop here.